Welcome back, everyone. We are officially inches away from the finish line. The Pitt Season 2 Episode 14 trailer just dropped. And let me tell you, this penultimate episode is gearing up to be the most explosive and emotionally devastating hour of television we've seen all year. Usually, the trailers for this show kick off with a steady, familiar beep of a heart rate monitor. But this time, the creators swapped it out for the blaring, chaotic wail of ambulance sirens. That minor audio change tells us everything we need to know. The calm is over, and the storm is fully here. We've got a July 4th nightmare in the ER, Dr. Al-Hashimi on the verge of a tearful breakdown, and Dr. Robbie standing right on the terrifying edge of a complete psychological collapse. Today, we are breaking down every single frame of this trailer, uncovering the hidden details and giving you my top theories on who might not survive the shift. Oh, and just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Let's get right into it. The absolute core of this trailer revolves around Dr. Robbie and his deeply concerning mental state. We see him standing outside the hospital entrance with his good friend Juke. From what we learned last week, Juke's surgery got pushed back by a week, so this scene is likely Juke packing up to leave the hospital for now.
There's their conversation that sent chills down my spine. Juke looks at the chaotic ER and remarks that the hospital is like a record that never stops spinning. Robbie's response? No, it's dance till you drop. This isn't just a casual metaphor. Coming from a man who recently found out his friend has a 50% chance of dying and who just confessed he might never return from his sabbatical, these words carry a very dark weight. Robbie is actively pushing himself to his absolute physical and mental limits. He knows he is at his breaking point. When Juke asks him what his plan is, Robbie simply replies, "Ride." He wants to get on his motorcycle and ride away from everything. But Juke, who has consistently been the ultimate voice of reason this season, hits him with a harsh truth. That's not riding, that's running. Robbie thinks he is taking a break, but he is actually fleeing from his own mind. And then the trailer delivers the most heartbreaking line in the history of this show. With literal tears welling up in his eyes, Robbie says, "I don't know if I want to be here anymore." On the surface, this sounds like a doctor who wants to quit his
stressful job. But if you've been paying attention to the subtle clues dropped all season, this feels infinitely much darker. It genuinely sounds like a man contemplating ending his own life. The emergency room was his only anchor, and now that the anchor is breaking, Robbie is completely adrift. While Robbie is fighting his internal demons, he's also about to blow the lid off someone else's secret. We get a highly tense shot of Dr. Al-Hashimi pulling Robbie into a private room. She tells him that she could really use an honest second opinion on a case. But look at her face in this shot. Her eyes are red, and she looks like she is either about to cry or has just finished crying. We all know that Robbie has been intensely suspicious of her since she stepped foot in the ER, constantly watching her freeze up during critical moments. This private meeting feels like the ultimate confrontation we've been waiting for since episode 1. Robbie is finally going to back her into a corner and force her to reveal what is actually wrong with her health. Will she finally confess to a hidden neurological disease? Or will she break down and admit to severe PTSD from her
time in the Middle East? Whatever it is, her secret is coming out next week. Of course, the hospital itself is an absolute mayhem because it is the 4th of July. We even see a brief, wild shot of a patient with an actual American flag impaled right into his chest, while Dana looks completely overwhelmed by a mountain of paperwork that needs scanning. But the biggest medical crisis in the trailer centers around Dr. Langdon and Nosley. They are treating a patient whose vitals are rapidly crashing. Robbie is standing right there, aggressively demanding a game plan from Langdon, shouting, "This is right here, right now." You can literally see the terror in Langdon's eyes. He suggests a procedure, but stammers, "I could paralyze him." It is painfully obvious that Langdon is suffering from severe trauma after his massive mistake with Grady last week. He has zero confidence left. He is terrified that if he makes a move, he will kill this patient. This leads to Robbie screaming an expletive at him. "Doctor, the F up!" It's a massive gamble by Robbie. Will this aggressive, tough love snap Langdon out of his panic attack and force him to save the patient? Or will this extreme pressure cause Langdon to crumble completely and make another fatal error? The trailer shows
them eventually attempting the procedure, so we know Langdon takes the risk, but the outcome is completely up in the air. We also see Langdon sprinting down a hallway looking panicked later in the promo, which is definitely not a good sign. Now, let's talk about a massive hidden detail that you might have missed. We see Dana having an incredibly stressed conversation with Dr. Abbott. She's begging him, saying, "Could you at least try to get him to promise to come back in one piece?" Dana is terrified of what Robbie might do to himself on his sabbatical. And remember, Dr. Abbott is already highly suspicious of Robbie's dark mental state from a few episodes ago. Right after this, the trailer shows us Robbie walking outside to start his road trip, only to find his beloved motorcycle knocked over and damaged on the ground. Here is my top theory. Was this really just a random accident, or did someone intentionally sabotage his bike to stop him from leaving? While it's possible it was just bad luck, I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Abbott or even Dana deliberately knocked it over. They know that if Robbie gets on that bike in his current suicidal... First, we see Dana looking absolutely overwhelmed and stressed out of her mind, surrounded by a mountain of paperwork that needs to be digitally scanned. The hospital is under immense pressure because, as the trailer reveals, it is the 4th of July. To highlight this, we get a wild, shocking visual of a patient who literally has an American flag impaled right into his chest. But the real medical tension in this trailer centers entirely around Dr. Langdon. We see him and the intern Nasli desperately trying to treat a patient who is rapidly crashing. Nasli is panicking, asking what's happening, as the terrifying sound of a flatline echoes in the background. And who is standing right over Langdon's shoulder? Dr. Robbie. This is a massive moment because this is the first time we are seeing them working in close proximity since Robbie flat out told Langdon that he didn't want him in his ER. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Robbie looks at Langdon and intensely demands, "He's progressing, Dr. Langdon. What is your plan? This is right here, right now."
Headspace, he might never come back. Damaging the bike might be their desperate, twisted way of keeping him trapped at the hospital where they can keep an eye on him. As the trailer comes to a close, the sound of the heart monitor speeds up into a deafening crescendo, perfectly matching the anxiety we are all feeling. Because this is the penultimate episode, the second to last of the season, the writers are about to put all their cards on the table. We are finally going to get the answers we've been begging for. What is Dr. Al-Hashimi hiding? How will Dr. Mohan officially exit the hospital? Can Langdon and Robbie ever repair their fractured relationship? And most importantly, is Dr. Robbie going to survive the night? This episode is guaranteed to be an absolute tearjerker. Grab your tissues because I have a feeling not everyone is walking out of this shift alive. But what do you guys think? Was Robbie's bike knocked over by accident, or did someone sabotage it to save his life? And what exactly is Dr. Al-Hashimi about to confess in that private room? Drop your best theories in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you are ready for our massive Season 2 finale review next week. Until then, take care.